She posted that single life was better than being with me, so I served her divorce papers at her office in front of everyone. The day it all started, I wasn't even looking for trouble. A buddy from work sent me a screenshot late at night. My wife had posted on social media, "Single life is better than settling for a man like him." My name wasn't mentioned, but everyone knew. The words hit me like a punch. After years of marriage, after sacrifices and loyalty, she reduced me to a punchline for likes and validation. And the worst part? Her friends laughed and liked it, fueling the fire. I stared at that post for what felt like hours. My mind flipped through memories. Late nights helping her study, paying off debts together, working overtime to cover bills. And this was how she painted me to the world. My first instinct was rage. I wanted to confront her immediately, demand why she'd humiliate me like that. But something inside me shifted. Instead of shouting, I smiled. Because she had given me the perfect reason to end what I had already suspected was broken. For months, our marriage had been on shaky ground. The cold shoulders, the constant phone scrolling at dinner, the way she dismissed me like background noise. Now it all made sense. She had checked out long ago. That post wasn't a mistake. It was her confession. I decided I wouldn't play the fool. She wanted the world to see me as disposable. Then I'd show her just how serious I could be. That night, I called my lawyer. By morning, the divorce papers were ready to go. The only thing left was how to deliver them. I could have slipped them onto the kitchen table, but where was the justice in that? No, I wanted her to feel the sting of her own arrogance, the weight of her own words. So I chose her office. The place she strutted around, smiling at coworkers, pretending she was living some picture-perfect life, while secretly disrespecting the one person who had stood by her side. That would be the stage for her downfall. I spent the next 2 days calm, collected, almost cheerful. She didn't notice too busy on her phone, probably basking in the online attention. Meanwhile, I prepared everything, each step measured, each detail deliberate. And when the morning came, I walked into her office lobby with the papers tucked neatly into a folder. My heart wasn't racing. I wasn't nervous. I was ready. Because this wasn't just about leaving her. It was about reclaiming my dignity. When her boss waved me in curious, I knew the timing was perfect. My wife looked up from her desk, surprise flickering into unease as I set the folder down in front of her. And then, with a calm smile, I delivered the line I'd been waiting for. Agreed. The second the word agreed left my mouth, her face drained of color. She fumbled with the folder, opening it with trembling hands. Her eyes darted over the bold header divorce petition. Her jaw dropped, and for once, she had nothing clever to say. Her boss, a no-nonsense woman who ran the office like a drill sergeant, stepped closer. "Everything okay here?" she asked, her brow furrowed. My wife tried to speak, but her voice cracked. This isn't he can't," she choked, and everyone nearby turned their heads. The office went silent except for the sound of her shallow breathing. A few coworkers peeked over cubicles, eyes wide, pretending to type while they leaned in to catch every word. The irony hit me hard. She wanted an audience for her single-life fantasy. Now she had one. She finally managed to stammer. "This is a mistake, right? We can talk about this at home." Her voice rose, desperate, but I just shook my head slowly. "No mistake. You made your feelings clear to the whole world. I'm just agreeing with you." Her boss crossed her arms. "Is there a problem I should be aware of?" I almost laughed at the understatement. My wife wiped at her eyes, mascara streaking. "It's just personal," she whispered, voice breaking. But by then, the damage was already done. The woman who had once been so smug parading her independence online was now trembling in front of her team. She tried to gather the papers, but her hands shook so badly they slipped and scattered across the desk. Her boss bent down to pick one up. Her eyes scanned the page, then darted to me. "Divorce?" she asked bluntly. My wife buried her face in her palms, sobbing. I didn't say a word. I didn't have tooth. The truth was written in black ink on company letterhead. The whispers started. A low hum at first, then spreading like wildfire. "Did you hear divorce? At the office?" It was everything she hated, being exposed, stripped of control, the mask ripped off in front of the very people she tried hardest to impress. She reached for me then, as if touch could erase everything. "Please, not like this," she begged. "We can fix this. We can talk." I didn't mean it. It was just a post, just stupid words. Her voice cracked on the last syllable. I leaned down so only she could hear me. Words matter. You wanted to humiliate me. You wanted the world to think you were better than me. Congratulations, you got exactly what you asked for. And with that, I turned on my heel and walked out, the echo of her sobs filling the office behind me. My chest felt lighter with every step. I wasn't the man she had belittled online. I was the man who finally decided I was worth more. The moment I stepped out of her office, my phone lit up like fireworks. First a call, then another, then rapid-fire messages that piled up faster than I could swipe them away. We need to talk. Please don't do this. Sorry. By the time I reached my car, she had left me 5 voicemails. Her voice shifted in each one, first panicked, then pleading, then angry. In the span of 15 minutes, she managed to cycle through every emotion like she was auditioning for a role. I didn't answer, not once. I sat in my car, engine idling, staring at the city skyline with a calm I hadn't felt in years. For the first time, the power was in my hands, and I wasn't about to hand it back. That night, she showed up at the house. I knew she would. I heard her car screech into the driveway, the frantic pounding on the door, the muffled cries through the wood. Please, open up. I can fix this. I'll delete the post. It didn't mean anything. I stood in the hallway, phone in hand, watching her silhouette blur through the glass pane by the door. My chest was steady.
Oh.
No racing heart, no panic. Just clarity. I didn't open it. Eventually her pounding slowed, her sobs grew quiet, and finally silence. The messages didn't stop, though. The next day, she tried guilt. After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me? Then came bargaining. Let's just do counseling. We don't have to give up yet. And when none of that worked, rage. You're pathetic. No wonder I wanted out. Every word only proved I'd made the right decision, because behind each message was the same truth. She didn't regret hurting me, she regretted losing control of me. Meanwhile, I began to notice something else. Friends who had seen her post reached out. Some were shocked. Some quietly admitted they always thought she looked down on me. A couple even congratulated me for finally standing up for myself. That support felt like a lifeline. Work became easier too. Without the weight of pretending my marriage was fine, I could focus. My coworkers noticed the change, and so did my boss. You seem lighter, he said during a meeting. He was right, he was no longer dragging dead weight behind me. But the real shift came when I sat alone at night, scrolling through her post again. The comments that once stung now made me laugh, because everyone who had cheered her on had no idea she was sitting in her car somewhere, crying, terrified that I really meant it. And I did. For the first time, I truly meant it. This wasn't revenge anymore. This was freedom. When she realized her late-night begging wasn't working, she changed tactics. The next morning, I got a call from her sister. She's devastated, she said softly. Can't you just talk to her? At least hear her out? I almost laughed. Did she tell you what she posted? I asked. Silence. Then a week. Not exactly. Of course not. She wanted sympathy without accountability. I told her sister politely that this wasn't her battle, then hung up. But it didn't stop there. Mutual friends started reaching out. Some genuinely confused, others clearly manipulated by her sob story. One text read, "She's been crying nonstop. Are you sure divorce is the only option?" Another said, "Relationships go through rough patches. Don't throw it all away." I replied once. Just once. She already threw it away. I'm just following through. That was enough to quiet most of them, because deep down they knew. She wasn't innocent. She just wasn't used to facing consequences. Her next move was family. My mother called me one afternoon, her tone cautious. She says you blindsided her. She claims she didn't mean what she posted. I could hear the hesitation in her voice, like she was trying to believe both sides. I sighed. Mom, she humiliated me in front of everyone. She made a choice. I'm making mine. I won't be guilted into staying with someone who publicly treats me like garbage. For once, my mom didn't argue. She just said, "Then I'm proud of you." That night, my wife sent a long email pages of justifications, excuses, and promises. She claimed it was just a joke, that her friends pressured her, that she didn't think I'd take it so seriously. Reading it, I realized she still didn't get it. It wasn't about the post. It was about respect. And once that respect was gone, there was no marriage left to save. Meanwhile, whispers started coming back to me through coworkers. The story of what happened at her office had spread. Some felt bad for her, but most saw the truth. She had written her own downfall. Even her boss, I heard, pulled her aside and said, "Keep your personal mess off company time." The image she'd worked so hard to craft, that polished, untouchable persona, was crumbling fast. And the more it crumbled, the more desperate she became. Late-night texts turned into early morning calls, her voice ragged from crying, saying things like, "I don't care if everyone knows, just please don't leave me." But each plea sounded less like love and more like fear. Fear of being alone, fear of losing the comfort of the life we built, fear of realizing she wasn't as powerful as she thought. And for me, that fear wasn't mine to carry anymore. By the 5th week, the cracks in her carefully constructed life were showing. Word around town was that her social circle had shrunk. Friends who once cheered her single life post now avoided her calls, afraid of being dragged into the mess. I didn't gloat, but I noticed. She had built her reputation on appearances, and now the mask was slipping. At work, her breakdown in front of her boss had become office lore. A friend of a friend told me people whispered she had it coming. Meanwhile, my phone still buzzed with her attempts. First I read them, then I stopped. They went from desperate pleas to bitter accusations, back to begging, then silence like waves crashing against a wall that wouldn't move. I had become that wall. Her unraveling was steady, but my growth was faster. I went out more, reconnected with old friends, even picked up hobbies I'd abandoned years ago. I started hitting the gym again, and for the first time in years, I looked in the mirror and liked the man staring back. One night, I grabbed drinks with a group of coworkers. One of them, a woman I'd barely spoken to before, clinked her glass against mine and said, "You look free." That word stuck with me. Free, that's exactly what I was. At the same time, my wife's attempts escalated. She left notes on my car windshield, showed up at my gym, even slipped letters under my door. Each one carried the same theme. Regret. I didn't mean it. We can fix this. I'll do anything. But every gesture reeked of desperation, not love. She wasn't mourning me. She was mourning the stability, the home, the future she thought she could treat like a safety net while chasing validation online. The final straw came when she called my boss. I don't know what she thought she'd gain, maybe pity, maybe leverage, but it backfired spectacularly. He called me into his office, told me about her sob story, and then leaned forward with a rare smile. "You're handling this better than most. Keep your head up." That night I poured myself a drink and sat on the balcony. The city lights stretched out in front of me, alive and vibrant. And for the first time, I felt the full weight of my decision settled, not as grief, but as peace. She was unraveling, but I wasn't there to catch her. That was the difference now. It wasn't her safety net, her punching bag, or her fallback plan. I was my own person again, stronger than I'd ever been. And in that moment, I realized the real victory wasn't serving the divorce papers in front of her boss. The real victory was the life I was now building without her. Her final attempt came on a rainy Sunday morning. I heard the knock before I saw her, softer this time, not frantic like before. When I opened the door, she stood there drenched, makeup smeared, clutching a folder of her own. "I filed a withdrawal for the divorce," she whispered. "We don't have to do this. Please, let's start over." Her voice was hoarse, like she hadn't slept in days. For a moment, I just looked at her, really looked. This wasn't the confident, smug woman who had mocked me online. This was someone broken by her own choices. But sympathy is not the same as forgiveness. I gently shook my head. "You didn't just make a mistake. You told the world I wasn't worth loving. Now you're asking me to forget it like it never happened." Tears welled in her eyes. I was stupid. Thought it was just words. I didn't know you'd actually leave." Her voice cracked on the last word. That's when it hit me. She never thought I'd stand up for myself. I handed the folder back. "No, you wanted freedom. You posted it for everyone to see, and I gave it to you. Be careful what you wish for." I closed the door gently, leaving her on the porch, the rain swallowing her sobs. That was the last time I saw her. The divorce went through smoothly after that. No more calls to my boss, no more letters, no more midnight visits, just silence. A silence that felt less like emptiness and more like space to breathe. In the months that followed, I transformed. I poured energy into my career, and promotions came faster than I expected. I traveled something she'd always dismissed as a waste of money. I met new people, laughed louder, lived fuller. Every once in a while, someone would mention her. "She's not doing well," they'd say. "She keeps to herself, looks lost." And I'd nod politely, but inside I felt nothing. Not hatred, not pity. Just nothing. She had made her bed, now she had to lie in it. One evening, I sat on my balcony again, city lights flickering below, glass of whiskey in hand. I thought back to that post, the one that had once gutted me. Single life is better than settling for a man like him. I smiled to myself. She was right, in a way. Single life was better, but not for the reason she thought. It wasn't better because I was free of marriage. It was better because I was free of her. And in that moment, I realized the sweetest revenge wasn't her tears in that office or the whispers behind her back. The sweetest revenge was my peace. If you've made it this far, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.